How's it going, internet world? This is Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. And this one is actually one that I've been anticipating for a while. So, I actually, one of the earlier figures that I started collecting for my Legends class figures has been these little unique toys, Warren Pocket guys. And when I first got them, not all the sets had been released yet, so I started picking them up. But the original set, the first set, the Tom and Jerry set, had not been released. Had been released, but then was like sold out everywhere because I don't know. They just didn't make a whole lot of them or whatnot. Well, I think they must have got re-released or something like that because I found these at Big Bad Toy Store and I was like, I gotta get them. I gotta complete my collection. So here they are. I'm guessing that this one is Tom because he's like a dog. I don't know. Jerry. I don't know which is which. Anyhow, this one's Weird Wolf. This one's Chrome Dome, and they are fun little figures. Um, playing with them more so than the transformation, especially on this guy. He's got this issue I've got with these dovetails that I am feeling like I got to do something about, and I never enjoy having figures that I get and then immediately feel like I have to do something about them. But uh, anyhow, but let's get into them. So for Weird Wolf here, he looks an awful lot like Weird Wolf. He's like freaking tiny. Looks good from the front. Looks decent from the back. When he came packaged, I should point out when he came packaged, his gun was stored in his leg here. So I guess that's like weapon storage for his alt mode or for his robot mode. But it does affect how far this panel closes up, which affects how flat he stands. So I don't know if that's really supposed to be like that. Also, it affects how like he can bend his knee like super deep without anything in there. If he had that gun there, he could only be able to bend about 90 degrees. So yeah, I don't know. One thing about these guys, when I got them, they were like super. These weapons were super tight, but I've left them in his hands for a while, and I think that they've started to deform to a more proper size. So that's always good, I guess. But yeah. So in terms of accessories, he just comes with this gun here and this sword here, and those are his entire accessories. He's also got his little headmaster guy here, who just unfolds like any old headmaster should. Of note, when I got this guy, his face was completely loose. It just fell out because it wasn't glued or secured in there in any way. I just threw in just a dab of I don't know, like a wood, like a paper glue, like a tacky something. I don't know. It was what I had on hand, and so I threw it in there, and it's worked fine so far. So, but in terms of articulation, his arm is on a little ball joint here. It doesn't really go out much, but it goes around certainly fine. Elbow is also on a ball joint, so it bends a little more than 90 degrees, rotates freely. No real articulation on the hands, but because of the transformation on it, this will rotate out. So he can like hold that at like a more relaxed angle for his sword, which is great. But don't necessarily need to do that with his gun unless he like really wants to like shoot at somebody like that. Pew pew pew, pew pew pew. He's got a waist articulation, which is great. Legs will go that far forward, that far back, out for the full Van Damme. Knee joint on this one is basically as deep as you want. Knee joint on this one is about 90 degrees. No real ankle articulation at all. And that has to do with the way he transforms. So, one feature that I do like about this guy is that if you go and pull up on this chest panel here, he does have, like all of these other unique toys, Headmaster guys, he does have a little tech spec in there, which is great. For a while, I was concerned that I was going to have to pick up the MechFans Toys version of these guys if I wanted to complete the set. But my real point of hesitation with that is I'm pretty certain MechFans Toys, as a rule, upsize all of their figures. And so I wanted to get one that fit in with all these other ones, not just have like all these headmasters and two of them that were just like massive. So I didn't do that. So to get this guy transformed up, first thing we're going to do, take off all his accessories, including his head. This joint here is going to flip around like that. And now he's Wolfman. Oh wait, that's a different version of Werewolf, whom I just reviewed. Wolfman. Alright, and so then his arms are going to go forward, flip out his doggy toes. We're going to take his waist and rotate it 90 degrees to the side. And this is going to turn and straighten this panel out. And then this panel will come around, and this little tab will tab into that little hole right there, like that. And then this leg is going to come around the other way, and we're going to take and split this right here, where it's tabbed together fairly well. Look, I have a thing for prying. Nope, it's not for prying. It's tapped together pretty good. I know I'm sitting here looking like an idiot, just like yanking on this thing trying to make it work, but it is tabbed together pretty dang good. I am going to use this. Like that. With this big old tab here. It's not my fault, guys. It's not my fault. Anyhow, so then these are going to come out like so. And this little hollow spaces right here are going to plug into these tabs right here. That's going to keep all of that in check. These will clip into place. There's going to be like a detent, and then you'll feel when they go in, because they'll go in and they don't move anymore. Then you'll take this sword here and you'll bend it right there. And this tab is going to go into the relief slot for that ball joint. And now it's a tail. Oh, and before we get too deep into this, you can take this and open that up and take this guy, put him into like a little sitting position, and just dump him in there. Close that up. Now he's in the cockpit. You can plug this in down here. And now he's a little wolf. And he looks really good. I almost want to say that he looks better in this mode than he does in his robot mode. In this mode, so these legs are basically immobile. You can unpeg these and move them a little bit, but they're not really going to serve any functional purpose. Tail will bend ever so slightly. Rotate that. Of course, you can open that cockpit as I showed. Shoulder will go around. It's the same joint as the robot mode, same joint as the robot mode. His neck joint here will rotate like so. Also, it will look up and down a bit, and he can open his mouth. Open, I say. He can open his mouth, and he's got little fangs that are kind of sharp. I think he's cute, super cute. Put him off to the side. Now we're gonna look at Chrome Dome. Chrome Dome is kind of a fun figure for me. I used to have, so I never really had a real Chrome Dome. I had the Transformer Juniors version of Chrome Dome that came in that Transformer Juniors 3-pack. I had that for a little bit, but then I don't remember what I did with it, something else. But he comes with his two little guns, which are like super stubby looking on this version. Again, I'm going to point out that when I got this when it comes out of the package, his guns are plugged into his legs, like so. So I guess that's weapon storage in this mode. If you don't want to store them like on his hands, I like to store his guns on his hands, like he's holding them, because he is holding them. But yeah, he comes with two of these. These are just identical, single piece of red plastic. Articulation on this guy, again, nothing at the head. They didn't invent posable heads till like the second to last wave of these little headmaster guys. So whoopsie. Armor's on a ball joint. It'll go all the way around. It goes out that far. He's got bicep swivel right there. Works just fine. Elbow joint bends a little less than 90 degrees. No posability on that wrist whatsoever. He's got a waist joint here. Works just great. Leg goes forward that much, goes backwards that much, goes out for the full Van Damme. Knee is also on a ball joint. Knee will bend like hella, and that's both of them. So you can get some like cool like third, little crouches out of him and whatnot. He's got tiltage on his foot, not a whole lot, but a little bit. Part of this comes from the way his feet transform, so there's that. And again, like all these other ones, if you take this panel here and lift it up, he's got his little tech specs. I don't have any of their G1 tech specs on me, so I don't know how accurate they are. But I want to say, if I had to speculate, they're probably similar to what these characters had in the G1 figures. So to get this guy transformed up, again, we're going to take his head off. And this little guy here. They all have slightly different sculpts, but ultimately they're all basically the same figure. But that is nothing new for Headmaster. There's like a little piece of flash on his leg. Flash. Anyhow, I'm not going to worry about it. So what we want to do is we want to untab this section here, not just pull up on the hood, but like actually untab it. This will bring this around, and it'll just kind of sit there. It won't actually go anywhere with any kind of solidarity. This is the part that bugs me about this whole transformation. So we're going to take this, and this is going to come out and then get rotated like that. And this is going to come out and get rotated like that. And this part is just fine. But you have to like get this tab into that slot and this tab into that slot. And these aren't just tabs, these are dovetails, which means they don't just tab in. You have to like slide them in, which means you can't have anything on top of this. Otherwise it won't slide in from the top, right? So then you have to like take this and like kind of try and like wiggle it around from the other side, and it's a complete pain in the ass. But more specifically, when you're trying to put it back into robot mode, you can't get the clearance you need to pull the legs apart unless you just like take it and just like hulk these things apart. So I'm thinking what needs to be done, and again, I hate feeling like I pull a figure out and then immediately feel like there's something that I need to do. If I'm paying for figures, I want them to work properly to begin with. But I'm thinking what needs to happen is that I just need to go in here and shave down these dovetails so they're more like tabs and not like dovetails. So there's that. I'm going to work on that later. Maybe I'll just mistransform. If I just force it enough times, maybe it'll just wear out normally. If I can force it. Hey, yeah. I don't know. I don't like that part at all. You're going to take his arm here and you're going to collapse that down, and then this is just going to plug in to this little peg right here with his hand. So again, we're going to take this, rotate this, collapse that, plug it in. He does have some visible hand syndrome, but I mean, it's a tiny little open. It's a tiny little little headmaster figure. Like, how critical can you really get? And that doesn't really want to close with his legs like that. Maybe I'll put him like this, like he's kneeling. Yeah. And then these can just plug in right here. Kind of an iconic storage for Chrome Dome. And there he is. He's a little car, and he rolls, kind of. And he's pretty great. I like him. I like these figures. They're fun little figures. But yeah, that's basically my review for these little Legends class Unique Toys Tom and Jerry. Your guess is as good as mine as to which one's Tom and which one's Jerry. But thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya. Bye.